Well, good morning. It is a good morning. Welcome. My name is Bridget Coughlin. I'm the president and CEO at Shedd Aquarium, and we are absolutely thrilled to host and introduce this momentous, beautiful day. Sitting on the shores of Lake Michigan, America's third coast, we at Shedd Aquarium work at the nexus of oceans and the largest body of fresh water in the world. And we do this work along with our partners, very much with the same intention as the legislation that we're here to celebrate. We do this work for people, for communities, and for wildlife. As you all know, the recent United Nations scientific report from the International Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, confirmed yet again that climate change is the largest threat to our planet today and indicates that humans are the root cause of Earth's warming. We also need to be the root solution. The report is a cry for action. But if we act fast, with collective purpose, and follow the science, we can build back healthier communities. We can restore and have stronger economies, and we can save this blue planet that we all share. Now, we are celebrating the start of that type of action today, right here in the state of Illinois, with the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act. I want to congratulate and personally thank, as a mom of 3 young boys who are going to inherit this planet, those that helped push this boulder up the hill. Generations to come will thank you for this work and thank you for this legislation. The coalition represented by the individuals behind me represents the power of collective impact to address not only the environment, but a legacy of environmental racism, and we together will build healthy and vibrant, sustainable communities. So this law is not the finish line, it is the start line. And Governor, we stand ready as your partners at the aquarium to help inform supporters, advance smart science, rebuild and rewild aquatic habitats. But before, Governor, I yield the podium to you and welcome you. I wanted to make sure that, not lost in the political narrative, that you have an opportunity, everyone here, to look nature in the eye. Look at some of the benefactors of this act. These beautiful animals and those that they represent share this planet with us, and today, together, we are making it better, and we're starting right here in the amazing state of Illinois. And with that, I want to thank the Shedd Aquarium team for caring for these animals, for educating the public about their role in conservation, and welcome Governor Pritzker.
What a terrific pleasure it is, and especially to see my old friend Wellington, who I unfortunately last got to see at the very beginning of the pandemic, but who was a star for all of us, reminding us of the social distancing that we needed to maintain back then. Thank you to Dr. Coughlin. Thank you to all of the people who operate the Shedd Aquarium for us, those of us in the public who love what you do, and I'm just so pleased to have this as our location where we get to sign one of the most comprehensive and important pieces of legislation that maybe we've seen in decades, maybe ever. And to all who have joined us on this momentous occasion, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you. Together we are making history today, taking a giant leap forward to mitigate the impacts of climate change, to establish the most aggressive clean energy standards in the Midwest, becoming the best state in the nation to manufacture and drive an electric vehicle, supporting the creation of thousands of clean energy jobs right here in Illinois, and protecting and advancing the interests of every Illinoisan, and making sure that we're anchoring it all in the values of ethics, and equity and consumer protections. Let me take a moment to name just a few of the advocacy groups who have worked for years. They've been coaxing the world to recognize that environmental work is about people. The Illinois Clean Jobs Coalition, Illinois Environmental Council, National Resources Defense Council, Sierra Club, and Little Village Environmental Justice Organization, just to name a few. That recognition extends also to those who came to the table in the best of American traditions, a fierce belief in fighting on behalf of working men and women, so that we ensure that jobs of today and tomorrow are quality, well-paying jobs and no community is left behind. Those organizations include the members of the Climate Jobs Illinois Labor Coalition, especially IBEW Local 15. Thank you for being at the table and fighting for our working families. I also want to give special recognition to the energy negotiation team in my governor's office. They worked day and night and found every possible opportunity to get the parties together, to sit down and work through every potential workable idea to get from this bill the best results for Illinoisans across the state. They did that for more than 18 months. First, Jessica Himes, who drafted and poured through thousands of pages of text, coordinating agency feedback at all hours of the day, and somehow found the time in between to put herself through law school. Yeah. Jane Flanagan and Anna Crane from my governor's office legal team, who were there to make sure that the details reinforced the grandeur at every step of the way, along with Bria Scudder, my first assistant deputy governor, as well as our brilliant partners in thought leadership and in crunching the numbers, Doug Scott and the Great Plains Institute. I'd also like to thank Max Chang and the team at Synapse Energy Economics, whose thorough and independent audit of Exelon and Exelon's willingness to open their books allowed us to preserve Illinois' valuable nuclear fleet, the nation's largest, at the lowest cost to the ratepayer, preserving our path to a zero carbon future. Finally, a superhero who made it his mission every day to deliver for me and for the people of Illinois a comprehensive energy bill that would make Illinois a national leader, Deputy Governor Christian Mitchell. The children of Illinois and their children should know his name because he led an effort to make the planet more livable for them. And of course, I want to thank my partners in the General Assembly who came together on behalf of their constituents to combine our best ideas. First and foremost, thank you, House Speaker Chris Welch and Senate President Don Harmon. And none of this is possible without the hours and days and weeks and months of toiling in working groups that was accomplished by leaders Marcus Evans, Robin Gable, Bill Cunningham, and Michael Hastings, Senators Selena Villanueva and Representative Will Davis, and Representative Cam Buckner and Representative Ann Williams, and so many more who helped to turn passion into progress. If the crux of public service is the fight for a better tomorrow, then there may be no position more courageous, more necessary than to take action on climate, knowing that the impacts that we seek won't come to fruition until long after our tenure in elective office. Thank you to all who made brave bipartisan change come about on behalf of Illinois' future. We can't outrun or hide from climate change, not to the north where the boundary waters burn, not to the south where Ida swallows lives and livelihoods in the blink of an eye, No, the consequences of our actions are here all around us. We've seen the effects of climate change right here in Illinois repeatedly in the last 2.5 years alone. A polar vortex, devastating floods, microbursts that destroy buildings, record lake levels, extreme heat, and emergency declarations in more than a third of Illinois' counties. Declarations, frankly, that people have had to live through, these declarations of emergency that have destroyed people's lives and livelihoods in those counties. There is no time to lose. But what we can do, what we must do, and thanks to the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act, Illinois is doing, is to fight to stop and even reverse the damage that's been done to our climate. As of today, Illinois is a force for good, for an environmental future we can be proud of. Over a half century ago, Illinois established the nation's first state agency dedicated to cleaning up and protecting the environment. Yes, that was Illinois. Today, we established the nation's leading climate action plan, including becoming the first Midwest state to require 100% carbon-free energy by 2045. Doubling, it's okay to applaud for that. Doubling our investments in renewable energy, making it clear to the world that Illinois is open for business with long-term stable financing to boot. Establishing a $4,000 electric vehicle credit for every Illinoisan and an up to 80% rebate for the build-out of charging stations, lifting up Illinois' reputation as the nation's hub for EV manufacturing, as Rivian and Lion Electric have already made clear. Fostering an energy sector that reflects the population that it serves, with investments in workforce hubs and a path to prosperity for minority contractors and Illinoisans living in environmental justice communities. And doing all of that while setting historic standards for utility accountability, increasing disclosure requirements, protecting ratepayers, and creating a watchdog called the Public Utility Ethics and Compliance Monitor to ensure the highest level of ethical standards. In short, with economic growth and jobs woven into its fabric, this new law is the most significant step Illinois has taken in a generation toward a reliable, renewable, affordable, and clean energy future in a generation. Thank you. Thank you all for everything that you've done to get us here. And with that, I am proud to turn this podium over to a man who saw the fierce urgency of now and who provided the leadership to match it. And that's our speaker, Chris Welch.
Good morning, everyone. It is so exciting to be here on Lake Michigan at the Shedd Aquarium for this great momentous occasion. I honestly believe that we're going to look back on this day someday, and we're all going to be telling someone that we were there when Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the nation's most equitable climate and energy legislation into law. We're going to tell them that we were there when Illinois led in history. It really can't be overstated how proud I am of the work that went into getting us here today. This day would not have been possible if our legislators on both sides of the aisle, in both chambers, didn't remember their why. Sometimes we have to ask ourselves why. If they didn't remember why they signed up for these jobs in the very first place, if they didn't remember the people that we all represent, today is for our children. Today is for our children's children. Today is for communities all across this great state. Today is for the people in Winnebago County. Today is for the people in Lake County, Cook County, St. Clair County, Grundy County. The people of the state of Illinois win big today because our colleagues in the General Assembly remembered people, and they remember communities. And as Bridget told you, they remembered our planet. I want to thank Governor Pritzker and Senator Don Harmon. They're not just friends of mine, but they're great partners in the fight. They are committed to the state of Illinois, making us a better place to live, work, and play. And I am really proud to work with them in making us the leader in the nation's entire state. Leader Evans, Leader Gable, Leader Hoffman, who couldn't be with us today, but I know he's here with us in spirit, and Representative Ann Williams were fierce champions, fierce advocates at the negotiating table the entire time these conversations took place. This went on for a long time, 3 years. You're going to hear some of them tell you about the struggle, but they got it done. They did it for the people of this great state, and they did it in a bipartisan way. They did it because they know that climate change is real. Our planet cannot wait. The lives of my children, Tyler and Marley, the lives of the governor's children, Senate President's children, the lives of all of our children were at stake. They did it for the people. This bill puts our state on the path to a clean energy future that Illinoisans deserve, and it gives our state a very clear future that's brighter than any other state can say. We have a very clear timeline for a carbon-free economy. It protects thousands of jobs in communities all across this state. It creates job equity, specifically focusing on communities of color that have been historically marginalized and kept out of this evolving industry. I'm really proud of this fight that we put on. And it includes some of the strictest utility ethics reforms in the nation, which are very much needed. We know that. We've read the headlines. We've read the same headlines that all of you have read. We got the job done, and this is what legislating is supposed to look like. Good faith negotiations and compromise to get to a point where Democrats and Republicans, labor and environmentalists all agree on something. Yes, I believe in the impossible. The impossible does become possible when we all work together. I want to again thank everyone for their work on this bill. The people of Illinois are better for it because you all made the impossible possible. Now, I want to bring to the podium someone who is very special to me. You know, I've been telling everyone, I'm a baseball guy. I love baseball. And whether you're a Cubs fan, Sox fan, or a Cardinals fan, whatever team you root for, you'll understand this. A championship team has good pitching. Starting, middle relief, and a closer. If you're a baseball fan, you know what I'm talking about. You need all three. A championship team needs all three. And we had all three in the house. Our championship team got it done. But you know you don't win a championship without a great closer. And I want to bring up our closer on this team this year, the Assistant Majority Leader and the Chair of the House Labor Committee. Please welcome to the podium a real champion, Leader Marcus Evans. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. You know, it's great to be on a team. You know, my high school baseball coach would tell Speaker Welch that I wasn't very good, couldn't really hit those balls with movement. So thank you, Speaker Welch, for believing in me. And thank you, Speaker Welch, for your collaborative, strong leadership. You know, ideas come, and they come in legislation, and that legislation must move through the assemblies. And it was such a joy to have the trust of Speaker Welch, along with Leader Hoffman, Leader Gable, Chairman Williams, Chairman Buckner, and all of my colleagues in the House to move this great piece of legislation through. And when you looked at the board, you saw 80 some odd votes. I believe it was 82 votes. And in those 82 votes, and 83 votes, and 83 votes sent a clear message that it was bipartisan, and it sent a clear message that we want to move energy policy forward. We want reliability, we support labor, and of course our partners in environmental justice and our partners in the solar industry. Of course, I must give a shout out to the Southeast Environmental Task Force, an organization on the southeast side of Chicago that's done great work in this space for so many years. And as a child, I would go to those meetings, and it's such a pleasure to work in this energy space. And again, have the trust of my colleagues, starting with Speaker Welch, all down the line. And I thank my colleagues for trusting me with this task, and I was proud to lead it to the finish line. But after the finish line in the House, what is next? And what is next is a chamber in which we can respect, and a chamber in which we have trust in. It is nothing like having trust in your partner chamber. The leader of that chamber is a man that I've known for many years. Look at his track record. Don't take my word for it. Senate President Don Harmon has been a champion for energy, labor, and solar development for so many years. I've watched him work bills as Senator Harmon, and it's just a pleasure to welcome the Senate President Don Harmon. Again, a great man and someone who's been a champion in this space for so many years. So, Senator Harmon.
Thank you, Leader Evans. You can do my introductions anytime at all. It is an honor to share the stage with our great Governor and First Lady, my good friend, the Speaker of the House, Chris Welch, and so many tenacious advocates both in the General Assembly and out. This is a day nearly 2 years in the making. We've had our ups and downs, our ins and outs, our twists and turns, but here we are. A few weeks ago, during what some might have portrayed as a stalemate in negotiations, the Governor and I were on the phone talking about energy policy. I told him the Senate's goal was for him to be able to sign into law the most aggressive, most progressive climate bill in the nation. And today that's going to happen. From the beginning, this has been a group project to achieve a shared goal. It wouldn't have happened, it couldn't have happened, unless the Senate, the House, and the Governor all worked together. What we have before us today is comprehensive energy policy, of which each legislative chamber can rightly claim authorship, and that will soon carry the Governor's signature and become the law of our great state. Our goal all along was to enact reliable, renewable, and affordable energy policies that put Illinois in a position to lead the nation. That's exactly what we're doing here today. I want to thank everyone here for helping make that happen, but I also want to thank those that aren't here today, the legislative staffers and the staff in the Governor's office who put in long nights and did the behind-the-scenes work to put this policy together. Our staffs have a remarkable habit of making us look good, and none of this would have been possible without their work and expertise. I know that the next speaker I'm going to introduce, Senator Mike Hastings, is going to name some names of our members and staff, and I'm pleased that he's going to do that. But it's my pleasure to name his name. The chair of our Energy Committee, Mike Hastings, has put in yeoman's work on this effort. I don't know if there's anyone in the entire General Assembly who took this more seriously and learned more about energy policy than Mike Hastings. I am proud of the work he's done. I am proud to call him a friend, and I'm honored to introduce Senator and Leader Mike Hastings.
I owe the President $5 for those comments. So before I begin my remarks, I want to say thank you very much and good morning to everybody here today. I want to introduce and thank some of my colleagues in the Senate that displayed leadership that every Illinoisan deserves, and that was instrumental in the Senate passing this landmark piece of legislation. Our Senate President is probably one of the best leaders I've served with, from combat to business to the General Assembly. And Senate President Don Harmon, thank you very much, sir, for trusting me with this endeavor. To Senate President Pro Tem Bill Cunningham, he brings wisdom, knowledge, and a sense of order to a lot of our meetings, and if any of you get to know him, he's just truly a special person. Leader Christina Castro, Senator Belt, Senator Laura Ellman, Senator Selena Villanueva, Senator Sue Rezin. Their leadership over the last 2 years, 4 hours a day, 3 days a week during the COVID pandemic. I'm talking hundreds and thousands of hours of countless meetings, site visits, negotiations. They can't be understated. I'm proud to serve alongside all of you. I want to make mention of one young lady. Her name is Mary Hanahan. Just give her a round of applause. For those of you who don't know Mary, she has a very unusual sense and sick sense of humor for going through this process, but she put in thousands of hours writing this bill, and I want to say thank you. To our clean energy advocates in the room, I see Andrew Barbeau, Jen Walling, Colleen Smith, a whole bunch of folks from the council. John, I see Elaine Neckritz is here as well. Your approach was not only professional, but it was persistent in your pursuit of a sustainable, clean energy future for Illinois. To Governor J.B. Pritzker, First Lady, it's always an honor to stand before you. And to your staff, Deputy Governor Christian Mitchell, I guess you're a superhero now, but to Jessica Himes and the team, thank you for thinking big. Thank you for providing the General Assembly with an alternative point of view. This bill is truly a compilation of great ideas for some truly special people. And speaking of special, Bridget, this place is unbelievable. What a special moment, what a special place to sign such a historic piece of legislation into law, that being the Shedd Aquarium. This is a place that reminds us that we don't share this planet alone. It's a place that shows us how magical and how precious our environment truly is. Governor, this is a perfect place. And when this place is full of children, like my children who I take here from time to time, who look in amazement of all the Shedd Aquarium has to offer, you can't help but ask yourself, are we doing enough to preserve what we have today and improve it for future generations? Today I can confidently say that our great state has boldly taken actions not just to help improve the environment for future generations, but to set the standard. To set the standard and create a national model for other states and even for other countries to follow. The General Assembly took action and refused to settle and accept anything but for the best of our clean energy future. Look at the facts before us. Look at them. They're undisputable. We have increased high heat days. We have increased global carbon emissions. We have increased extreme weather events. Our world is changing, and inaction would be an injustice for all of us. That's why I'm very proud of this piece of legislation. Not only was it collaborative, but it focuses on what matters most to the people of Illinois. And first, I have to say it preserves the nuclear fleet, our leader when it comes to carbon-free electric generation. And it's fueled by the hard-working men and women of organized labor. And it's led by great people like Tim Dre, Pat Devaney, Mikey Clemens, Bob Ryder. Where's Terry McGoldrick? He deserves a round of applause. Him and Billy Phillips. These guys are warriors that fight for working class people. I see Tony from the Carpenters Unions here today, hometown. But I want to tell you about how special these people are that work at these plants. At Byron Generating Facility, I want to make mention of this. They operated during a pandemic, and they operated at a time where they were not sure whether or not that plant was going to stay open and whether or not they were going to be able to keep their jobs and whether or not they have to pick up and move out of the state of Illinois. They operated at 99.8% capacity. They had zero OSHA violations, and most importantly, they kept their lights on. You can clap for that too. But Terry and Bill, I want to tell you, I visited every nuclear plant in the state, and I've talked to all the workers there and the stories that they shared, and the stories of our workers at the plant worrying of whether or not they should sell their home and look for employment elsewhere. No more, my friends. This bill focuses on investing in clean energy like wind and solar, not just in one part of the state, but across all of Illinois. I've been to Coffeen and Kincaid. I saw the devastation of what happens when the plant closes. Our state's new coal-to-solar program will transition shuttered coal plants into state-of-the-art solar energy sites with world-renowned battery storage. It will help workers, it will help families, and it will help communities thrive once again. This bill invests in people, whether you're black or brown, whether you're coming out of incarceration or you're looking to discover a new career. This bill invests tens of millions of dollars in ensuring that we have the workforce that's prepared for a clean energy economy. But most importantly, and I think probably one of the most key tenets of this bill, it holds people accountable. Those folks who cast a dark cloud over our great state of Illinois, this bill will hold you accountable, and you will be subjected to some of the most sweeping ethics reforms ever to affect the public utility industry, and rightly so, because they did wrong and they need to be held accountable. Last, it changes our children's future and future generations to come by ensuring that Illinois will live in a state with zero carbon emissions over the next 30 years. That's something we can all be proud of. All the hard work, all the tireless effort that went into this. God bless you all. Stay safe. Most importantly, stay healthy. Thank you very much. That's the third time I've done this at a bill signing, so I apologize. But I will say that it takes a partner in a bipartisan bill to get this across the finish line. Senator Rezin was there for our countless meetings throughout COVID, our countless meetings throughout our committee hearings, and our private phone calls that I've always enjoyed. A tireless worker on behalf of the nuclear facilities in her district, Senator Sue Rezin.
Good morning. As Senator Hastings says, and if you haven't heard me say this before, I am the proud senator that represents 3 of the 6 nuclear power plants, and I am honored to be here today. For nearly 2 years, thousands of Illinois workers employed by our state's nuclear power plants dreaded the possibilities of losing their jobs and being forced to leave the communities that they love and the lives that they have built. Communities like the ones in my district feared that what would happen once their plants went offline, and they lost the vital tax revenue that they provide for their schools and their critical services. During the last 2 years, stakeholders and legislators on both sides of the aisle spent countless hours fighting to prevent those fears from becoming a reality. With the governor's signature on Senate Bill 2408, we ensure that our state's nuclear fleet will stay online, and thousands of jobs and the tax revenue that they provide won't be lost. We ensure that our state won't lose the source of over 50% of its total energy and nearly 90% of the carbon-free energy. We ensure that our state has a better energy path, and we ensure that our state's goal of achieving 100% carbon-free energy by 2050 can be achieved. Now, as you know, this legislation has been going on for 3 years, and there's so many groups here that have been at the table. If anyone asked what we did during the pandemic, it was energy meetings via Zoom. And but also I have local representatives from our area today who are tireless advocates and understand the importance of the nuclear in their backyard and the jobs. So I have Nancy Norton from Grundy Economic Development, Christina Van Apren from Grundy County Chamber, thank you, Dr. Bug, and also Mark Mitchell for your coalition that you put together to help advocate for this bill. I'd also like to thank my colleagues behind me. Senator Harmon, thank you for your leadership, and also Senator Hastings and Senator Leader Cunningham as well for moving this piece of legislation. Speaker Welch, thank you for your leadership, and Representative Leader Evans for your leadership, and my colleague, Representative David Welter, in pushing this bill through the House. These large pieces of policy are not easy to do. Lastly, I'd like to say, when the governor came into office, he had been in office about 3 weeks, and I hadn't met him, so I had asked to sit down and talk with him. And so I went into his office, and we talked for about 30 minutes about the importance of nuclear energy and the challenges that we have in our state with energy. So, Governor, I'd like to thank you for your leadership on this issue And thank you for pulling us across the line here. Thank you. Next, I would like to introduce Leader David Welter.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for everybody being here with us today. My name is David Welter, and I represent the 75th District in the Illinois House. That is home to half of Illinois' nuclear fleet, 3 nuclear plants being Braidwood, Dresden, and the LaSalle Station. We're talking thousands and thousands of jobs, direct and indirect, throughout my entire community. I can tell you for the years leading up to this, and it has been years of negotiations that's taken for us to get here today, that there is not a week that goes by that I don't go to a grocery store or a restaurant or my child's school and hear from whether it's their teacher that their husband has a job there or their father has a job there and what's at stake. So I know for all of us, we care about a cleaner energy future and what is in front of us. But what this meant for my community today is enormous, So Governor Pritzker, with the stroke of your pen here today, this morning, if we're quiet enough, you might just hear a sigh of relief coming from Morris and Byron and some of these other areas where folks are counting on us to deliver. And that's what we're here to do today. So as I talked about and others have talked about, this process has been difficult. It's been tough. And ultimately, as you saw in the House and the Senate, it did end up coming out to be a bipartisan supported bill. I want to thank everybody involved, and I know everybody's gotten their thank yous, but from the governor's office, again, Christian Mitchell and I served in the Illinois House together, and we've negotiated some pretty big bills since the governor's come in. Christian, I know this hasn't been easy, but you helped us land this plane. You guys, the entire team, Jessica, Doug, Governor, you have an amazing chief of staff. Ann, whenever I call Ann, whenever I have a concern about my district, she has been one of the most effective folks that I've met in government. So thank you, Ann. Our friends from labor, and that can't be understated. One of the reasons why we got across this finish line as well is that labor never stopped fighting for the folks back home. They never stopped representing the workers at these plants and trying to ensure that as we move to a cleaner energy future, that there are jobs there for their workers. And the last point I just want to touch on before I close here is that people often ask, as the spokesperson in the Illinois House for the Republican caucus on energy and environment, they ask about our positions on energy policy and how we differ maybe with our Democrat colleagues. And what I try to say to them, and I try to be as upbeat as possible, is that we all care, Democrats and Republicans, about a cleaner energy future, leaving a better future for our children and their children. We just have a different view of how we get there and when we get there. And I feel this bill, although not perfect, was a compilation of a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of effort to try to get us as close as possible. So again, I thank everybody for being here. Governor, I am so excited to see your pen hit that paper and be able to go back and tell the folks back home that they will have their jobs, they don't have to sell their homes, and they can stay in our community. Thank you. Next, I would like to introduce Representative Ann Williams, who is the counterpart in the Illinois House. She is the chair of the Energy and Environment Committee and a fierce advocate for clean energy and a cleaner future. Representative Ann Williams.
Wow. I am so honored to be here today to watch the long-awaited, much deliberated nation-leading climate bill be signed into law. We did it. Collaboratively, we worked together to put communities and consumers first. We put people before utility company profits. We set the stage for real investment in renewables and in the people and communities traditionally left behind. We provided for strong ethics, accountability, and oversight measures. and we created a solid decarbonization plan for Illinois' power sector. I am so very grateful for my colleagues, the advocates, the community activists, the youth leaders, the faith leaders, for your work to make today happen. And as a legislator, but also as a resident of planet Earth, I want to thank Governor Pritzker for making decarbonization a priority from day one. And I want to thank House Speaker Chris Welch for ensuring that the final package was truly a climate bill. And of course, Senate President Harmon for getting it across the finish line. So today is a historic day. We can celebrate today. But the climate conversation is far from over in Illinois and everywhere else. Addressing the climate crisis, which remains an escalating threat to the life and health of each and every one of us, will require ongoing, aggressive, and sustained action at all levels of government. So yes, today is a good day, but today is just the beginning. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce one of those champions, Delmar Gillis with Elevate Energy. Delmar.
The Climate and Equity Jobs Act is the most equitable clean energy legislation in the nation. Good morning. My name is Delmar Gillis, and I'm the COO of Elevate, and I'm also a member of the Clean Jobs Coalition, and have been working with community leaders, legislators, the governor, and other stakeholders across the state on the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act. Specifically, I've been working to ensure that the equity provisions in the Climate and Equity Jobs Act are nation-leading and set Illinois apart in a historic way. But what does that mean exactly? It means that Cheryl Johnson from the People for Community Recovery has access to seed capital money to build solar in her community. It means that Reverend Tony Pierce in Peoria has access to the Prime Contractor Program that will provide underserved contractors the resources they need to become lead contractors that create jobs in their communities. It means that Troy's Polk from here in Chicago will have access to solar incentives so that he can develop projects that he has been planning for years. It means that Mike Addy, who has been a fearless champion of jobs in Metro East, has a workforce hub in his community that provides job training. It provides support services such as tools, work clothes, and childcare. It means that community leaders like Juliana Pino and Naomi Davis have the accountability and transparency around these programs to ensure that they are meeting their intended needs. All of these community leaders were critical in developing the equity provisions in this bill. It also means that Chris Williams, a third-generation African-American and electrician, can train the next generation of solar technicians in his community. These are the people that I fought for in Springfield, and this is why the Climate and Equity Jobs Act is the most equitable clean energy bill in the nation. So let's get to work. There is much to do. And with that, I would like to say thank you. And I would also like to introduce a friend, an equity advocate, and environmental community leader, Ms. Dulce Ortiz.
Buenos días. Mi nombre es Dulce Ortiz. Yo soy residente de Waukegan y soy una co-líder de Clean Power Lake County. Hoy es un día muy especial, no nada más porque marca el comienzo del mes de la herencia hispana, pero también es un día histórico en el estado de Illinois, donde esta nueva ley le da prioridad a nuestras comunidades latinas y afroamericanas, que históricamente han sufrido desproporcionadamente debido a la exposición a peligros ambientales. Esta ley crea una economía de energía limpia, decarboniza el sector eléctrico para el año 2045 y crea programas de equidad y justicia económica para crear y capacitar proyectos de trabajos donde más se necesitan, centrando a residentes latinos y afroamericanos y comunidades de primera línea, para garantizar que residentes elegibles realmente puedan acceder a estas oportunidades. El paquete también proporciona programas integrales de transición justa para las comunidades como Waukegan, donde se encuentran plantas fósiles. Incluida es una declaración de derechos de trabajadores desplazados y programas para brindar a las comunidades recursos y notificación de cierres en el proceso de transición. She'll get that? Yeah. Good morning. My name is Dulce Ortiz from Clean Power Lake County and also a member of the Illinois Clean Jobs Coalition. Today is a very special day. It's not only a special day because it's the start of the Hispanic Heritage Month, but it is also a historic day in the state of Illinois, where we become the leader in clean energy in the nation. The Climate and Equitable Jobs Act prioritizes Black and Brown communities that have been disproportionately impacted and historically suffered due to exposure to toxic pollution. CEJA creates a clean energy economy in Illinois, decarbonizes the electric sector by 2045, prioritizing the retirement of coal and gas plants in environmental justice communities. This is a huge win for communities like Waukegan that have fought long and hard to ensure emission reductions, and closures were prioritized for plants with the worst environmental justice impacts. CEJA also creates equity and economic justice programs where they are most needed, centering Black and Brown residents and frontline communities to ensure those eligible can actually access these opportunities and build wealth. This package also provides comprehensive just transition programs for communities such as Waukegan, which includes a Displaced Workers Bill of Rights and programs to provide communities with resources, notification of closures, and input in the transition process. I thank Governor Pritzker for putting forward a bold plan to address climate change and close fire power plants like the one in my community. I am a Mexican immigrant, and having the basic human right to breathe clean air, have clean water and clean soil, and equitable access to the clean energy economy is deeply personal to me. This work helps ensure that Black and Brown sisters and brothers everywhere are empowered to own their own future. This month, many Latin American countries will celebrate their independence. Today, we celebrate our independence from fossil fuels. I dedicate this win to my 3 children. Thank you, and I invite Nakia Crossley to the podium.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day to pass an energy bill, and quite an historic day for clean energy in this state. Again, my name is Nakia Crossley. I am the Central Region Director and Counsel of the Solar Energy Industries Association, which is the National Trade Association of the solar industry. And I'm the spokesperson for the Path to 100 Coalition, which represents the renewable energy industry doing business here in Illinois. On behalf of us all, I want to thank Governor Pritzker and the General Assembly for creating the largest expansion of renewable energy in our history. This bill solves the crisis that had stalled renewable energy development in Illinois. And it puts us on the path to a clean energy future. In the next 10 years, renewable energy businesses are going to create more than 50,000 new jobs, building projects in every corner of the state that saves consumers money and fights climate change. We are proud of the diversity and equity commitments in this legislation, and we look forward to making sure that as the renewable energy industry grows, it fully reflects the diversity of Illinois. And we look forward to partnering with organized labor to build the middle class while we're building renewable energy. So many people worked on this bill, a lot of whom are here today, but many whom are not. I want to give a special thanks to Representative Will Davis and Senator Bill Cunningham, who have worked with us, the Path to 100, from day one, nearly 3 years ago, so that we could be here today. I also can't leave this podium without acknowledging just a few of my colleagues, Jonathan Feipel, who has been my right-hand man throughout this process, Dave Lundy and his team, Laura Procera at CCSA, Leslie McCain at ICEA, Jeff Danielson at ACP, Amy Hart, Sarah Wokus, Barry Matchett, Courtney Welch, and so many others. We, the women and men of the renewable energy industry, we understand that Illinois' clean energy future depends on us. We need to build a new energy system that eliminates pollution, keeps the lights on, and keeps electric bills low. And we need to move faster than ever before. The renewable energy industry stands ready to take on that challenge with you. So thank you, Governor Pritzker, for putting Illinois on the path to 100. Thank you very much. And I'd like to call Pat Devaney to the podium.
So good morning, everyone. I'm extremely proud to be here with President Tim Dre of the Illinois AFL-CIO, Chicago Federation of Labor President Bob Ryder, many assorted labor leaders from across the state on behalf of the 900,000 working men and women in the State Federation of Labor, and in conjunction with Climate Jobs Illinois, the labor coalition made up of our affiliates that have been working for the last couple years to move Illinois forward in the renewable energy space and clean energy generation. From wind turbine technicians, solar panel installers, nuclear plant engineers, to security officers, teachers, and janitors, Climate Jobs Illinois represents hundreds of thousands of Illinois union men and women, and soon to be newly recruited and trainees who will help power our way to a carbon-free future. Organized labor in Illinois has a long history of taking on and winning tough fights for working people and families trying to find their way to the middle class. This new law is a victory for them and for all of the families in Illinois as we take on climate change, which all of you know is the greatest challenge to our generation. With this now enacted piece of legislation proves that we do not have to choose between good jobs and a clean, better future for our state. We can do both. Illinois' new clean energy agenda sets the strongest labor standards in the country, requiring project labor agreements on all utility scale wind and solar and prevailing wage on all projects other than residential. It protects the thousands of union jobs at the state's nuclear plant that generate the bulk of Illinois' zero-emission energy, and it helps communities reliant on fossil fuel generation to make a just transition into their clean energy future. But equally important, as Delmar so aptly described, it creates the strongest equity provisions of any state in the country. These programs and workforce development tools will not only lift up a new generation of working men and women from communities of color, but will also provide opportunities for Black and brown contractors to grow into the renewable energy industry. With these provisions, we can ensure the clean energy grid of the future will be built and maintained right here in Illinois by highly trained union workers to the benefit of their families and their communities. I want to thank our friends with the Clean Jobs Coalition for the opportunity to work together on crafting these important provisions, and we look forward to working with Delmar and all of you in the future to address equity and continued inclusion. I also want to thank our counterparts from the Path to 100 and all of the members of the Legislative Energy Working Group. And finally, I want to recognize all of our legislative leaders on both sides of the aisle. I'm not going to name all of them. You've heard all of their names previously. But they all worked incredibly hard under the leadership of Speaker Welch, Senate President Harmon, and all of their incredible staff. And I also want to thank Governor Pritzker and his staff for the incredible work that they've done to reach this compromise solution that establishes Illinois as a leader in clean energy and workers' rights. We owe it to our families and all future generations to get this right. And with this measure that the governor is going to sign today, I am confident that we are on our way to winning the fight against climate change and building a stronger middle class along the way. So our next and our last speaker before the governor signs the bill, and I think it's perfect that he closes it out, is the IBEW Local 15 business manager, Terry McGoldrick. Terry's responsible for representing all of the people in our nuclear fleet across the state and has just done an incredible job through this process. So Terry.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I got to say, Speaker, that was a really long ball game. Good morning, everyone. I'm Terry McGoldrick. I'm the President and Business Manager of IBEW Local 15. I represent thousands of union members who help operate the state's nuclear plants and nearly 90% of the state's current clean energy. We also represent people that work at the fossil plants, and I'm very happy that there's provisions in this bill for those people and also address coal to solar in the future. Those folks who have worked shorthanded, additional overtime shifts, and shift changes, and did it at a record level, and did it during a pandemic. It's unbelievable the work that those guys did, not knowing whether they were going to have a job or not. They go to work every day to provide safe, reliable power to our communities. There are thousands of hardworking men and women who set the foundation for Illinois to meet its ambitious and achievable clean energy goals that Governor Pritzker will enact today. These plants also represent what a union job can do for working people. With the provisions enacted today, they will help create new opportunities for working class people to secure good paying jobs that will support their family. And that's what this is about, is families and communities. That will help them buy a home, send their kids to schools, and save for retirement. And it's a better future for our children. On behalf of Illinois members of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, I thank Governor Pritzker, thank you, sir, and the leaders of the General Assembly for working to find common ground. I especially want to thank Climate Jobs Illinois, including Pat Devaney. The guy's unbelievable. I can't say enough about Pat Devaney. Tim Dre, the president, unbelievable. You guys are absolutely fantastic for working people. Appreciate all your hard work. And I'd like to say that, all these folks behind us, we met with them on several occasions. We called them, we met with them. Christian Mitchell, we met with several times. Appreciate all your guys' help. They told me from the get-go that this was going to get done. They just didn't say when it was going to get done. And I certainly didn't think we were going to wait till the last day of the outage when the outage started on Monday the 13th. So I appreciate all you guys, and thanks to everyone here today. Keeps the lights on and keeps all these folks working. Now I will bring in the closer to sign this bill, Governor J.B. Pritzker. Thank you.
Okay, happy to take any questions from members of the media, and of course we have experts all around